Welcome to the writing module of Ultimate Guide to Hacking IELTS. Let's first address the writing monster. If you open any IELTS book to understand the scoring of the writing section, you're told that examiner will assess your writing on the four marking criteria. These four criteria are task achievement, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range, and accuracy. Well, if after reading you're holding your head in your hands because you don't understand what each of these criteria means, then you're right where I was. And to tell you a secret, you don't even need to know. Okay, I can tell you quickly that task achievement means that you have answered to what the question is. Coherence and cohesion means that your writing is well organized and precise. Lexical resource means your use of vocabulary. And grammatical range and accuracy is self-explanatory. Tenses, etc. But who in the world can write something by focusing on these four criteria individually? No one can. It's stupid. I've written hundreds of thousands of words for my blogs and work projects, and I still can't write by focusing on these criteria. So my job is to completely change your perspective towards writing. Make it 1,000% easier. Remember, I didn't even learn English until I was 20. I'm still not an English literature guy. But readers, they love reading my writing through two of my blogs. I use some hacks in writing, and I'm going to share with you those hacks. I use the same hacks to get my own scores of 8 in writing. And some of my students, who are actually naturally better than me in English, have scored perfect 9s using these hacks. In this module, I'm going to share a structure with you that is going to make writing effortless for you. No matter what kind of topic occurs, you'll be using the same framework to first plan and then write your letter and essay. Let's first look at some things to note before you jump into the fundamental hacks. Your handwriting. If the examiner has problems reading your handwriting, your band score can be seriously affected. So you don't have to write like a professional, but your handwriting should be clearly readable. Memorized answers. If your essay seems memorized, it will not be accepted, and you can result in a 0 band score. That's pretty much a failure. So never ever try to memorize the answers and go write it in. Limited answer. If you fail to answer the whole question and only answer half of it, you'll not get above 5 in your task response. And I'll tell you more about what it means by limited answer in the writing task 1 and 2 separately. There's no upper limit of words, but writing more than stated words will not get you any extra marks. Instead, it might just cause problems due to chances of increasing spelling or grammatical errors. Do not copy statements from letters or essay topics on the answer sheet in order to increase your word count. This will hurt your score. Again, this is a tactic used by the masses. IELTS know that it will hurt your score. If the topic of the letter or topic of the essay itself is 20 words, you copy it, that's already taken your 20 out of 150 or 20 out of 250 words. That's just going to affect your score negatively. And lastly, don't write abbreviations or contractions. Meaning, always write minutes instead of MIN, and I am instead of I am, have not instead of haven't. Well, you can use contractions in informal letter, but that's kind of the only place you can write contractions or abbreviations. As a rule of thumb, I would just avoid it, not get into complexities. And now, let's do a quick overview of the writing test. Writing test has two sections. Writing task 1, which is the first section, can be a letter if you are taking a general training, IELTS, or it will be a short report on chart, graph, table, diagram, map, what either of these, or a combination of two if you're taking academic IELTS. So that's the only difference. Writing task 1 is different for both academic and general training, and the difference is only of one gets a letter, other gets a chart or a graph, and you are required to do some sort of analysis of the numbers. The second section, which is writing task 2, is same for both GT and academic, and that's for 250 words. So for both of them, writing test is of 60 minutes, and you are required to spend 20 minutes on task 1, 40 on task 2. That's not a hard and fast rule. The way I'm going to train you and the way I do the task, you should be able to complete task 1 in 15 minutes and task 2 in 30 to 35 minutes, and spend last 5 minutes for each to check your answer. And then there's a weightage as well. The total points are for 1/3 are for task 1 and 2/3 for task 2. Usually tasks 1 are extremely simple, and depending on whether you're taking academic or general training, you'll take that part of the ultimate guide to hacking IELTS, you'll see that it's actually a very simplified process, and you can easily get between 8 to 9 band in task 1. Task 2 takes a bit more effort, and that's fine. We'll deconstruct that as well. If you have taken the VIP product, then you are allowed to send as many of the task 1 and task 2 answers for review by Australia Yours. If you've taken option 2, you can send a combination of any 5 essays or letters or short reports for review to Australia Yours team. Let's look at a couple of frequently asked questions, and the biggest thing is only the word limit. The word limit is 150 for task 1, 250 for task 2, and you will lose marks if you don't hit the word limit. So be very careful about that. When you practice, make sure you do hit that. What about the upper limit? There's actually no upper limit, and I have even received many students sending me 400 plus essays when they're only supposed to write 250 words. So here's the rule of thumb. For writing task 1, aim to write between 150 to 180 words. For writing task 2, aim to write between 250 to 280 words. Writing more than this range that I've suggested will not increase your marks at all. Don't even think that if you have more to say, you're gonna get more marks. In fact, from checking over a couple of thousand essays by now, the more number of words you will write, the more spelling, grammatical, and sentence structure mistakes you will make. The more mistakes you make, the more negative marks you get. So, in all eventuality, it turns out to be a disadvantage for you if you write more than the required word limit. So keep 150 to 180 and 250 to 280 as a ballpark in your head. With that, let's go to the fundamental hacks that are applied for both writing task 1 and writing task 2. And after these fundamental hack lessons, then you'll be able to choose which path you want to go for the writing task 1, academic or general training.